Hello, welcome to Sowing the Word Ministries and Conversations about Marriage. My name is Charles Perkins and the title of this message is, What About the Pain? Now before I get into the actual message itself, I would like to share a poem with you that I wrote some years back. In fact, back in 1970. The title of the poem is, Her Tears Fell. So much love to give and such a long time since she had given it. He was gone. And she was fine being alone until her aloneness turned to loneliness. Then her tears fell. How often has she thought, if there were only someone? But there was no one. There was no one. Alone, her tears fell. When there had been love, there were no tears, but love had fluttered out of her life on the wings of a butterfly, leaving from its resting place in her heart. No more love. Her tears fell. Tears washing away the dust of yesterday's memories. Tears dissolving cobwebs from the innocence that once flowed freely through her spirit when she had loved. She saw life as an outlaw, stealing her love and taking the knife of nothingness to pierce her spirit so that happiness slowly oozed from the wound and fell in drops of crushed emotions at her feet. A wounded spirit, her tears fell. Although at the end it had been bitter, she remembered only the tender moments they had shared, all the love they had made, all the good times they had had. Now the good times were gone. He was gone. So her tears fell. Tomorrow would come. Her tears would be dry. Her wounded spirit would be healed. But right now, being alone and being lonely, her tears fell. You know, breakups can be funny. They can indeed be very funny. Or maybe I just have a weird sense of humor. You know, back in the prehistoric times of the 1960s, I was in the military and engaged to a young lady back home. Naturally, we wrote each other love letters, and you know, there was no email back then, so we actually bought stationery and wrote letters. One day, I received the most beautiful love letter from her that I had ever received. It went on to proclaim undying love for me. I mean, it was just filled with wonderful declarations of love. She had never written a love letter so tender, so tender like that before. Then the next day, the very next day, I received a letter from her telling me that she was getting married to someone else. The contrast was so great between the two letters, one of undying love for me and the other telling me that she was leaving me for someone else. It was so great that I couldn't even get mad. In fact, all I could do was laugh. For some reason, it struck me as the funniest thing that had ever happened to me. But now, having been married for over 35 years, I can say that my love life actually turned out great anyway. Some breakups can be funny. Most are not. Most breakups are painful. There are the obvious painful breakups that result from abuse, adultery, drugs, alcohol, and so on. But sometimes it's not quite so clear why the breakup occurs, although you can see the relationship coming to an end. The feelings are fading, the desire is fading, the interest is fading, and so on until finally the relationship itself fades. There may not be any harsh words or attitudes, just the reality that it's over. And then the pain starts. Pain that comes from a feeling of failure and disappointment. Pain of a lost love that could have been, but is helpless to be. You both want to stop it and go on with a life together, but you don't know how. So you break up. The loss is painful, and it is pain that is built up over time. Then there's the sudden breakup, the breakup that is not expected. You think everything is cool and then one party decides to end it just like that. And to top matters off, he or she has no real explanation as to why they want to end it. They just come up with some sort of excuse, but no real reason. The pain is sudden and sharp because you were not prepared for it. There are all kinds of breakups, and if you live long enough, you will probably experience one if you haven't already. But after the acceptance of it, after deciding to go on with your life after all is said and done, what about the pain? In most cases, there will be pain. It hurts to lose someone you love. Well-meaning friends and relatives will tell you not to worry. They will tell you that everything will be all right. They will tell you that you will get over him or her. And it will all sound like noise to you, but you listen anyway because you realize that they mean well and they don't know what else to say. And even though you don't want to hear it, you know that they're right. Worrying never resolved anything. It only makes it worse. And at some point, you actually will get over it. When that point is, when that point comes, depends totally on you. Things such as acceptance and forgiveness speeds up the process of getting over pain. But time is the main healer of a broken heart. After the acceptance and forgiveness, both of which are necessary, you begin to take control of your life again. Each day you gain small victories in the healing process. Then just when you are sure you have gotten over it, something happens to spur a memory or a feeling, and the pain hits you all over again. But don't worry, you're not having a relapse. If you love someone, it's only natural that the pain of a breakup will reoccur from time to time. But in time, it will reoccur less and less. Then eventually, not at all. You will be able to see the person without any pain, anger, disappointment, or feelings of loss. Eventually, you will get past all of that pain. It may not seem like it at the time, but you will. I personally don't care for pity parties, but when I hurt, I look for things to cheer me up. I really don't need people around me telling me how bad things are. I already know that. But if you feel you need a pity party, if you feel you really need a pity party to vent, then get together with a couple of good friends and have a good community crying session, or maybe 2 sessions, and then start your healing process. You can't continue to have folks around you telling you how no good he was or how she did you wrong. You already know that. The longer you keep up a pity party, the longer you will stay in the same place emotionally. And things that stay in the same place tend to stagnate. At some point, you have to decide to live again. You have to decide to stop being somebody's ex and start being the new you. Pain is much easier to deal with when you're in control of your life. You are in control when you decide to take control. God gave you a mind and a free will. Use them to set yourself free. Yes, it will take time. But again, the amount of time depends totally 100% on you.